皆さん、こんにちは。内野隆です。今回もグレッグとの対談第2回をお届けします。情熱は年を取らない。これはまさに彼の人生を表す言葉です。フェイ師父やイノサント師父との出会いを通じて、どのように武術を学び成長し、そして人を指導するようになったのか。また、彼の中で武術がどのような意味を持ち、どんな哲学を大切にしているのか。今回もとても深い話になっています。学び続けることの大切さ、そして情熱を持ち続けることの素晴らしさをぜひ感じ取ってください。それでは、どうぞ。
You did a really good job in your gym. And what do you think of Rick? What's your impression of Rick? And what is Rick to you?
Well, Rick is always will be, and always has been what I consider my first true martial arts instructor. Before, I was training with my friends, and we were doing all these things. And I was working at a pizza place, and there was this guy named Steve K there.
Steve K, yeah.
Training, he was doing the Sinawali with the two knives. And I looked at him, I said, "Hey, that's Kali." And he goes, "Kali?" I go, "Yeah, Kali." Because where'd you learn that from? And he wouldn't tell me at first. And so I kept bugging him and bugging him and bugging him. And finally he said, "Okay, hey, why don't you come with me to my friend's, my instructor's house?" And that's when we drove to the garage for the first time. And we started, I remember I brought my bag. I had my nunchucks, I had everything in my bag. And so that's when I got there and started training, it was like the lights went on. I was just, I found it, and we were doing the Sinawali for, so long. And then, but to me, everything was so brand new that it wasn't enough. Right. And then we started learning more, and then we started going to seminars, and then we started coming, and it was like I was a sponge, and I was just couldn't get enough of it. So if they said, "Oh, we're going to do Sinawali for an hour," I was like, "All right, let's go." Didn't matter. I just loved every second of it. And
yeah, we did pretty basic stuff like 6 counts in the Sinawali, like a Punyo Simbrada for 1 hour straight. I remember that. So all we did was just stuff like that, the very basic stuff that's been given by Guru Inosanto. And also, I remember when I went to join MKG, you know what you and I did? First drill, we did that, was a lapsao cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Lapsao cycle, we are doing over half an hour.
Yes.
And then to prevent from getting bored, we never got bored, but you were making funny faces. You're putting some stuff out of your mouth and then pull it back like that.
Yeah.
You kind of made me laugh, and then, you were really trying to get me interested in what we were doing. And I remember you. That was a huge quality of you, that you are really loving person to let, you're not going to let people get bored with it, And I wasn't getting bored, but I was so having fun with you because you were making really funny faces. I still remember your face, and we were laughing, and we were going like that, like this,
Yeah, over and over. But, think about it, at that time, nothing was basic. It was all new, and we were learning.
Yeah. You're right.
So
that was
totally
so cool motion. We were just, we kind of talked about all day when we first go like this, right? Lapsao drill, and we switched by Loi Pak Sao and then Bong Sao and Pop Sao, the other side, right? That discovery was so like a Columbus, we found
exactly.
Huge discovery, and oh, wow, that was something. And then we could really keep going over hours,
Yeah.
We never studied. We got together that we were going to study, but we started doing Kuba and stuff. I'm 64 and you're 60, right? I remember you were like, when I first time met you, like what, 19 or 20 or something like that.
Yeah. Right. Probably 19.
Yeah. I was, and at the University of Minnesota, on the football field, we worked out, trained, and you were showing like this. You were showing like this, and then put the elbow in like this, And oh man, this is so. You were so creative. I was so inspired by your creativeness, and you're trying to learn it, and in a very profound way. And you shared that with me, and that really helped me out. I'd like to thank you for that.
Everything, I think, trickles down from Sifu Rick, which trickles down from Guru Dan. It's just this continuous, cycle of, being using your imagination, being creative, trying to connect things, just enjoying the process, and it always just fed me so much energy. See how I can fit my wrestling into here. Let's see if we can fit Sorenji Kempo with the wrist locks and all the other stuff.
I remember that.
Yeah. And how can we put it all together and blend? And it was just that's to this day, it's still the same. It's still endless blending of all these things.
We can talk like this when just like when you were 19 or now when I was 23 or so. Oh man, we can. Oh, this is something beautiful. Passion never age, by the way. That keeps us young, and you always had it is so impressive that you had to go through very difficult time with the cancer twice, and you just never lost the passion and your faith too. Also, that's really very impressive. A lot of people can learn from you, and that's why I want to share. I want Japanese people to know who you are and what you have gone through, and we've got a lot to learn from you. So, and Rick and Guru Dan.
Yes. Something that you have true passion for, then it finds its way in almost everything you do. It found its way. We were supposed to study. We didn't study. We did martial arts instead. And then we became friends and just kept going and building off of that and learning different martial arts and getting new instructors and meeting new people and traveling and training. And it just always fed me energy. So when I ended up going through cancer and battling through that, I was always going back. Even my brother, when I'd be in the MRI and I couldn't move, and he'd say, okay, this is going to be just 3 rounds. You can do 3 rounds. Everything went back to rounds on the Thai pads, like rounds. You can do 5 rounds in your sleep. And so everything went back to that mentality of, I can do 5 rounds. I can do 3 rounds. I can do 4, whatever it took. And just different things that I learned through the martial arts also allow me to, occupy my mind, had something to talk about. And then my faith was always there, when everything else, I tell people when physically you can fight things for so long and then your body just can't fight anymore. So then mentally you keep going, but mentally over time you will break too. And then you're left with your will to survive and keep going. But even that over time can go. So then what are you left with? You're left with your faith, and you have a God that's holding you up instead of you trying to do it. He does the holding for you, and he does the fighting for you. And that was a huge thing. And I always tell people this because you knew me in the beginning too, very, very intense, very like to fight, like to do everything, just whatever, just very intense. After cancer, I had to relearn how to walk, I had to learn how to do all these moves, and they weren't easy like they were before. And so what happened is I became more empathetic to people who had trouble learning at the beginning. And I go, now I understand. Before, everything came very easy and just trained hard and push hard, loved it. And then all of a sudden it wasn't so easy. I had to relearn and really physically put my mind and my body into it. And it changed my way I looked at teaching and how to teach people. So even in a bad situation, it became a benefit to me.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty good. You had it twice. First time you overcame. The second time you overcame. There's any difference between the two?
The second one was very pain. It was pain. The first one I had stage 4 liver cancer. So it was in my liver and I lost a lot of weight, had to go through all the chemo and that. But the second one was lots of pain because the cancer went into my sciatic nerve. And so lost my ability to move my legs, and it was just constant pain for months and months and months. So that was definitely a much more difficult cancer. But now, it's kind of like, it happened, but the way my mind works, I don't go back and revisit it too much. It's like I learned from it, built from it, and this would go on. And I talk to people because, I have a variety of people that call me either, I got diagnosed or I have somebody who is diagnosed with cancer. Would you talk to them? I said, yeah, and, for me, I just am pretty truthful with them. I don't sugarcoat anything. I said, that's going to be tough. This is what you're going to have to deal with. Here's what helped me, and so that it's still something that I can use to help people, and that's what I think. It's like I went through it, I survived it, and, so that now I can, have a different influence, to people who may have it, maybe, have somebody that they know has cancer or sick, and also people who are coming back from any kind of illness, and then they have to relearn how to train or relearn how to do everything. So I understand. I had to do it. I know what you're going through. So it kind of gives me a different approach.
Whoa, man, this is very rich. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's in Japan, there are a lot of people going through some mental illness right now. I don't know why. Some of them committed suicide here. Suicide rate is higher now than ever before.
Mhm.
But look at you. I mean, you had tons of reasons to give up. But here, there are many, many people who give up so easily right now, and there's no hope right now. Not no hope, I say first seeing stress here is kind of strange. It's different than before when you came to Japan. Now, a lot of younger people are waking up, but a lot of people are now suffering from where to go. Is there anything that you can kind of advise them, Japanese people? You've been here at least a couple of times, right? So you know what it feels like to be in Japan. If you have any good message to some young people who want to do something, or he has a dream, or they want to change themselves, or they feel get out of their state of mind, if you have any good advice and using martial arts and faith.
Yeah, I think that, regardless of whatever it is, they have to find something that they love to do. I have all, different friends who, some of them play guitar, some of them are, other musical instruments. Some people like art, some people like, the majority of the people I hang around with love doing martial arts, but some of them they like doing more Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Some of them like doing just Thai boxing. Some of them like doing all of it and Filipino martial arts and the whole thing. But I think it's important that they find something that will give them a balance that they can go to relieve that stress, to just get away from their everyday life and just kind of just focus 100% into something else and allow themselves that relief from life. I always tell people that at my own academy, if I'm going through whatever, any kind of problems, it's like I have a backpack with my problems in it. And I leave it on the outside of the door and I walk into my academy and I don't bring it in with me. And sometimes when I go back out, I say, someone must have stole my backpack. My problems aren't there anymore. But other times, at least you trained and you have a different mindset and you can look at it in a different way and it makes more sense. And if the problem is such that I can still go into the academy and train, it's there, it's a problem, but it's not a problem that's going to change my life. If that's a problem that's going to change my life, I better take care of that problem first. But most things I can just set on the outside and just come in and get a different mindset by training and not even thinking about it, just getting absorbed into teaching or training or whatever I'm doing at that time. Yeah, I've always had that mindset that my academy is like a sanctuary. I get to walk in and anything from the outside doesn't come in with me.
Just to be able to go to the gym and do something is an accomplishment, And
Yeah.
Rick, I just spoke with him for the interview like this, like I'm doing to you. He pointed out somewhat similar to what you said. He says success is a series of habit of small things accomplished, like first time we found the Sinawali, no way of knowing how to do it, but just the 6 count, if you can do it, is an accomplishment. He says it becomes a habit of accomplishing things. The sequence of that accomplishment is a success, he says, and which I agree. And you're using a passion as another vector of success, which is very, very, what do you call it? You can keep going. And
Yes.
even though you had to go through 2 very tough time with cancer, your passion never extinguished, That's very impressive, and it's hard to do. You should write a book about it.
Yeah, that's hard to do, maybe. But
But anyway, again, look, you're 19 or I'm 20 something. It's been how many years? 40 years, right?
yeah.
Again, we have exactly or even more bigger passion now.
Yes.
And, like you said about Jikundo Kali, it's growing, it's never ending. And God only knows where it's going to lead. But, this is something that really makes me so happy that I talk to you like this after 40 years. Like that's never thought I could talk to you like this. But
That's
anyway,
awesome.
my passion manifested in the field of fitness. Your manifestation was in combat, very, very hardcore. David Leach manifested in the area of action or stunt Hollywood movie, and some other people has their own strong field. So I was really inspired by you and Greg Nelson, Rick Fay, Guru Inosanto, and some others. But I was into fitness, and which is not compatible nor is it for Hollywood, but I was very passionate about it.
いかがでしたでしょうか。今回の対談を通じて、情熱は年を取らないという言葉の意味がより深く伝わってきたのではないでしょうか。リック・フェイ師父、そしてダン・イノサント師父との出会いをきっかけに、武術を純粋に楽しみながら学び続けたグレッグの姿勢には本当に刺激を受けました。また、武術は単なる技術ではなく、人生そのもの、学び続けることで人とつながり、新たな発見を重ねていく。そんな姿勢が私たちの日常にも大きなヒントを与えてくれると感じました。皆さんはどう感じましたか？ぜひコメント欄でシェアしてください。次回もお楽しみに。